getting beat down that hard like 3 weeks in a row definitely took a mental toll on us. But today it was just we had fun. It was dominant, and we were definitely loose with our gameplay. And I think we're gonna need that for playoffs.
Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Americas Stage 2 for week 5 of the regular season. My guest is, as you can see, who just waved, Derrek of Evil Geniuses, coming off of their match against FURIA, in which they won 2-0 to thus move on to the playoff phase as, I believe, the fourth seed in their respective group. And so, Derrek, thank you so much for the opportunity once again. Congrats on making it happen. You had to wait. You had to wait like a good while for it to finally make this accomplishment happen, but you got it done. So first and foremost, how does it feel for you and the rest of the team to finally get the job done for this first phase?
Definitely weight lifted off our shoulders. I think obviously this was a must win in order to make playoffs, but I think just mentally it was a must win for all of us just to be able to make a run into playoffs and not just crumble. I think the way that we won, I think Ascent definitely should have not snowballed into like giving them 8 or 9, however many rounds we gave them. Uh, but yeah, I think a dominant duo was nice to have.
I mean, most definitely, it was one in which on paper, Furia, has been a team filled with struggles, having to figure out what they want to do. But nevertheless, given that this was a match that ultimately decided your playoff fate, I'm sure there's plenty of hard work to preparing for this team. Um, Still though, like, what was the approach for this week from previous week in which you guys, I believe last time you guys faced off against, let me just double check one more time, against Sentinels, and came off of that as a losing on the losing side. So what was the approach from that point to now, and most important aspects in terms of set preparation?
I think honestly we didn't go into this like preparing to play against Furia. It was more like refining our stuff. The loss against Sen, especially on Corrode, we definitely refined a lot of stuff that we knew we were going to be bringing into this Furia game because we thought they would play Corrode or would like to play Corrode. So yeah, I'd say nothing different besides just making sure our game was as polished as it could be.
Mm. And with that said, now you guys have been able to secure a ticket in playoffs. As I said, had to wait a while for it to finally happen, but you guys got it done. With that said, I want to now shed light onto the season, a regular season that was in stage 2, 2-3 record. Obviously, not the kind of record that you guys would want to normally have, but still it's good enough to get to playoffs. How do you look back on the team's journey through this regular season, and what has been some of the biggest highs and lows that you've seen out of this team so far?
No copium. I mean, it is definitely rough in our position to play two teams that were already qualified for champs, and they're just like no pressure. Not to say like we should let that get to us, but that definitely came into play. I feel like our play and our just I think our confidence was definitely wavering in the middle of that split two, especially when um right after our like playoffs run, it was like we almost lost to 2G, and people had almost had expectations of us to just like roll through with our playoffs like confidence. So I think that that definitely got to us a little bit, but I think all those stage 2 regular season games like are just preparing you for the most important matches, which are the playoff matches. So
Yeah, and of course, like, facing off against, as you say, the best teams in this league, and Sentinels and G2, for every other squad, I would say experience the same kind of issues as EG experienced. But on the other side of the coin, people kind of look at, the schedule and how, EG perform, it would be like, oh, then like they're not good, Does it kind of feel like for your team and yourself specifically, Derek, that like there's not much respect onto EG's name because of like the type of schedule that you guys have been on, and the types of team that you had to face and lose to?
I definitely think a lot of teams or just like outside fans looking in definitely don't respect EG and like see us as the underdog, which I don't care either or. Um, I think that works better for us honestly because people tend to underrate you as a team. But yeah, I mean, we don't really listen to that outside noise. So
And in a general sense, given that you guys have been able to make playoffs, what do you feel was the biggest like strength that this team was able to show that pulled you guys forward and got you guys over the over the hurdle in this regular season?
um, I think getting 3 losses in a row definitely is a make it or break it depending on the team. And we're like, listen, guys, we played pretty much the 3 hardest teams you can play in the regular season. After 2G, we played both champs qualifying teams and regular season C9. So it cannot get any worse than this. Um, so after our loss against Sen, we were like, it's now or never. Um, you know, let's just play like we deserve to be here. And I think we definitely did against FURIA. And yeah, like I said, hopefully propel us through playoffs.
With that said, I kind of want to ask about the sort of the how the team has kind of been faring with regards to the current meta of this game. Now we're kind of pivoting towards double duelists and all that stuff. Obviously, I'm sure you've had to answer questions similar to this, but like in line of how the game has been shifting, what has been the most important part that the team has been shifting as well in line or in conjunction with the game, and do you kind of feel like nowadays that EG is adopting or has adopted a brand new identity for this part of the season, or do you feel like it's still same old ish kind of thing?
I definitely don't think we're the front runners for anything crazy, but obviously when you have Ye on your team, trying to run him on chamber or like jet a lot is definitely what we're leaning more towards. I think we definitely found our identity in that aspect. I flex when I needed to, so leaning into that a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think we're front running anything, but I also don't think we're falling behind in any aspect.
In a few occasions in stage two, we've seen you adopt even Chamber as well, and also like a little bit of Tejo as well. In a time in which Tejo's not really that, nobody loves him anymore except for
Yeah.
you and a few other players. What helps you just sort of continue to build your game and having to opt for these kinds of choices and contribute to the team at this point?
I mean, honestly, like the Teo Chamber and Omen, the Chamber was like kind of half a joke, half a serious thing where it was like our Lotus was very good in my opinion, and we were just like messing around with different agents that I could play that wouldn't change our comp too much, but would get the job done. So Chamber was one of them, and like I got 1 day, like 2 days of it on practice, like in scrims, and I did pretty well. So we're like, fuck it, we're just gonna run it, and then I mean that worked out pretty well. But I'd like to say on Lotus because there's a lot of talk about this. I think we definitely haven't played that like our comp to its fullest potential, and that's why people are definitely talking down about like still running Teo and just not putting Yay on Chamber. I think it's we haven't had a good showing on the map because we haven't like followed our game plan or just it's I don't know. It definitely works very well in practice. It's just we haven't been able to translate it in actual games, so that kind of sucks. So yeah.
With that said, now you guys begin to look forward into playoffs straight into the lower bracket. As I said, if you guys finished in the regular season as the fourth seed of your respective group. So obviously you're going to be thrown into the fire literally from the onset of your playoff journey. Do you feel like intimidated from the prospect of just having to start off this playoff journey on the lower bracket with no lives available and just having to face off against whoever is dropped down to little bracket to face you?
It's definitely some pressure. I mean, I'm just happy we made it to playoffs, so I'm just here for the ride. I think our stage one playoffs run definitely set us up for success here, where we knew we had no second chances. Like we got to come out of like swinging. So I think that's what we're gonna do here, and just prep well for whoever we think we might play.
You got any preferences to the first opponent that you want to take on first and foremost? I mean, back in stage one, you faced Cloud9 and you guys were able to take them down. So, is it the same story this time, or
Listen. I would love to play playoff C9 again. So we'll start with that.
yeah, we know the change for that team, and so yeah, like that said, right now in a lot of ways it's similar to the story of stage one, as I have been mentioning, starting off the lower bracket and going from there. Current level right now, as you guys gear up for this playoff run, where do you look at the level of this team right now? Do you feel like at this point is higher than what it was in stage one, or maybe lower, or what else do you think?
I definitely think with our map pool, how it's shaping up, I think we're just as strong, if not a little bit more confident than stage one playoffs.
Most definitely. And if you feel there's one thing, or let's say there's one thing that you feel that, wait, let me just say it another way. If there's one thing that you feel the team has to focus on the most that can help be the foundation for success in playoffs, what would that one thing be? What would that one thing be for you, in your opinion, and why?
I think honestly, it's such a cop out, like cheesy answer, but like just being loose when we're in game and just like having fun playing the game. I think like getting beat down that hard like 3 weeks in a row definitely took a mental toll on us. But today it was just we had fun. It was dominant, and we were definitely loose with our gameplay. And I think we're gonna need that for playoffs.
And most definitely, hopefully, you guys are able to continue to use that, or channel that energy into playoffs and so and everything after that. So, Derek, appreciate the time once again for the interview. Really do appreciate your answers as always. And of course, best of luck goes to you and the rest of the squad for playoffs.
Thank you, sir.